F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic, The Great Gatsby, was released 100 years ago, but the jazz age is still alive and well on Broadway. Now there's a new Jay Gatsby in town. I caught up with Ryan McCartan at the Skylark. This is one of those shows where you're like, oh my gosh, forever. And I always think, you know, if you think about where you're going to be in 5 years and you look back and you say, this is a show I chose to do.
I don't know where my mind sort of went first or settled first, because there's book Gatsby, there's 2 movies Gatsby, Leonardo DiCaprio, Baz Luhrmann, and now there's this thing, which is so much in that sphere, but so much its own thing.
Yeah.
And it's so Broadway. Yeah, just the scale of it, the history of it, the literature of it. There's so much about Gatsby that is just so grand and opulent and mysterious and terrifying. And this was not on my dance card. I didn't think this was gonna happen to me.
Why?
I started in this business when I was 7, and I am 31 now, and I am so used to being the youngest in the room, because for 18 years I was always the kid in the cast.
Yeah.
Those sort of formative years have a big impact on the way you think about yourself, no matter how old you are. And I still sort of think of myself as like that kid that gets thrown a bone.
Yeah.
And Gatsby is just so, I mean, for lack of a better word, this might sound so trivial, but like Gatsby is so adult.
Yeah, he's a grown-up.
And I'm like, oh, I'm not a grown-up.
I have to pretend to be a grown-up.
Right.
Right.
To, you know, around the other grown-ups.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a kid from Minnesota. So they're gonna go for someone sophisticated and complicated, not me.
Yeah.
And then I get the call and I'm like, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. Me? We're talking about Gatsby, right?
You had a decision to make, though. You had a decision whether or not this was going to be the show you were in.
Very close to when I got the offer to do Gatsby, I was announced to be in Stephen Sondheim's Old Friends. That is the best and worst thing that can happen to an actor, to be given choices. On the one hand, it is such an immeasurable blessing, and on the other hand, it's so infuriating to you know, you go months and months and months and months with no prospects, and you're working so hard to just get something, and then you get handed 2 things at once and you have to choose. And it's like, wait, can we just transplant this 6 months back when I had nothing going on, and then transplant this other thing 3 months later, and we can make them all work? No, it doesn't work like that. When it rains, it pours, in a good way and in a bad way. You are either stranded with nothing or you have 5 things you have to choose from. To be vulnerable and honest, there was a big piece of me that didn't think I could do it, Gatsby.
Why?
I never studied this. The way that I learned this, and I'm really grateful for this in some ways, the way that I learned how to do this was by doing it. You know, again, working since I was 7, and so I learned how to act by watching other people act. Well, I learned how to sing by listening to other people sing. And that kind of caught up with me, where suddenly I was like, oh, I don't know what my voice is. My voice is this amalgamation of all of these impressions I've been doing.
Right.
But I don't know what my voice is. I have so much respect for Jeremy Jordan. I've been listening to Jeremy Jordan forever. But again, my first instinct is to be a parrot. And so I listened to his stellar performance on the album, and I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm singing, trying to do it like him, and I necessarily can't do it like him. I can do it my way or I can't do it.
Right.
And my instinct is to do it his way, because that's less vulnerable.
It's easier.
If I do it my way, people can criticize me. If I do it his way, maybe they're criticizing me, but I know in the back of my mind, well, I'm sort of doing Jeremy Jordan pantomime, so this isn't me that they're criticizing. What I was really left choosing between was something that I could fake it through, or something that I had to do wholly, completely, and intrinsically as myself.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Bare. Horrified. And I chose the the thing that terrified me.
My green light, blinking permission, sending a code, granting admission to follow a road. Run or right, my green light.
Let's talk about your beautiful daisy.
That was such a wonderful surprise. You know, you don't know when you're swinging into a show like this,
Yeah,
sort
of
of what
course.
you're swinging into. There's something really nice about us starting around the same time, bringing a new energy into the building, being able to share that new energy, being able to sort of be the new kids together.
Yeah.
So it's not as scary. You know, that camaraderie has been really useful. She's a lovely person. She's a incredibly gifted vocalist, performer, thoughtful. She's the whole package. Smart, funny, brilliant, nice, normal. You know, like
It's perfect.
It's perfect, and I think she brings a really valuable energy to the building.